She arrived certain of one thing: the night would want her. That confidence sat comfortably on her shoulders as she stepped inside, the door closing behind her with a sound too soft to be dramatic. The room met her expectation easily. Low light, a bed centered like a promise, a chair angled just enough to suggest someone had thought about sitting there for a while. She didn't rush. Rushing ruined leverage. She placed her bag down carefully and stood still, letting the room adjust to her presence. This part always mattered, the moment before anything happened, the moment where attention settled, where desire usually revealed itself through impatience. He was there already, not waiting near the bed, not leaning against it. He stood closer to the window, posture relaxed, hands visible, eyes steady. He looked at her without scanning, without lingering. That was unusual, but not alarming. Yet, she removed her jacket slowly, folding it instead of tossing it aside. Small discipline, small signals. She knew how to read them. She also knew how to send them. The bed drew her attention like it always did. She sat on the edge, testing the mattress with her weight. It dipped slightly, cooperative. The sheets were clean, cool, prepared. Everything was aligned for what she expected to happen next. She leaned back a little, resting her hands behind her, opening her posture just enough to be noticed. "You're comfortable," she said. "Yes," he replied. His voice was calm, not eager, not distant. She crossed one leg over the other, letting the movement breathe. She waited for his gaze to follow it, for the shift, the small change in focus that usually came without permission. It didn't. Her smile held, but something inside it sharpened. "You're quiet," she said. "I'm paying attention," he replied. That answer lingered longer than it should have. Paying attention wasn't the same as wanting. Wanting usually moved faster. She laughed softly, a sound meant to ease the space. "This is the part where things usually change." "I know," he said. She studied him more carefully now. The way he stood without leaning forward. The way his hands stayed relaxed instead of reaching for purpose. The way his attention seemed fixed on the space between them rather than on her body. That was the first crack in her assumption. "You don't seem in a hurry," she said. "I'm not," he replied. "And you're not nervous." "No." She leaned forward, elbows resting on her knees, closing the distance without crossing it. She expected a reaction, a breath taken slightly deeper, a shift of weight. Something. Nothing came. "What are you waiting for?" she asked. "For you to stop preparing," he said. The words landed cleanly, without accusation. She straightened, irritation brushing the edge of her composure. "I'm not preparing," she said. "Yes," he replied. "You are. You arrived ready for desire to move toward you." She felt the truth of that before she wanted to admit it. "And that's not happening," she said. "No," he replied. "Not like that." The silence stretched, not awkward, focused. She stood, smoothing her clothes without needing to. Standing helped her feel taller, steadier. She walked a slow arc around him, careful not to touch, letting proximity do the work instead. He didn't turn to follow her. That absence of reaction felt louder than movement. "You're letting the room do all the work," she said. "Yes." "And you're not helping." "No." The dark humor of it caught up to her then. She had dressed for heat, timed her arrival, shaped the moment carefully. The room was ready. The bed was ready. He was not playing his part. She returned to the bed and sat again, this time without choreography. The mattress accepted her weight without ceremony. The sheets whispered softly, intimate in a way that felt unearned. "You know what I expected," she said. "Yes?" "And you're not correcting me." "No." She lay back slowly, stretching out on the bed, arms resting loosely at her sides. The posture wasn't an invitation. It was a test, the kind that usually worked because people rushed to pass it. He stayed where he was. The waiting shifted then. It stopped being about when he would move. It became about how long she could stay still. She felt it in her body first. Not heat, not hunger. A low awareness that sharpened every sensation. The way the bed supported her spine, the way the air moved across her skin, the way attention lingered without touching. She sat up again, slower now. "This feels strange," she said. "Yes," he replied. "And you're fine with that." "Yes." She laughed once, short and dry. "You're not supposed to be." "I know," he said. She swung her legs off the bed and stood, grounding herself in the cool floor. The loss of contact felt intentional, like the room had stopped cooperating. "You're not going to touch me," she said. "No." "And you're not going to leave." "No." The certainty in his voice made her pause. "Then what?" she asked. "Then you'll notice where the power actually is," he replied. The words settled slowly, rearranging the shape of the night. She looked around again. The bed, the chair, the light. Everything had been arranged for desire to take the lead. Instead, desire had been asked to wait. She smiled, smaller now, more thoughtful. "I thought it would be physical," she said. "I know," he replied. "And it isn't." "No." The silence returned, but it felt different now. Not empty, clear. She realized then that the danger wasn't in what might happen later. It was in what was already happening. She had arrived expecting to be desired. She was being asked to recognize herself. The night she understood had only just begun. The silence didn't retreat. It settled. She felt it press lightly against her ribs, not heavy enough to suffocate, just present enough to be noticed. The room held its shape. The light didn't dim further. The bed didn't invite her back. Nothing leaned toward resolution. She stood where she was, letting the moment test her patience. "You're very calm," she said. "Yes," he replied. "About leaving me like this." "Yes." The honesty landed without cruelty. That made it worse. Cruelty would have given her something to push against. Calm gave her nowhere to hide. She walked back to the bed and sat again, closer to the center this time. The mattress dipped, then steadied, supportive without seduction. The sheets whispered softly beneath her, a sound that felt too intimate for how little had happened. "You're letting the room do everything," she said. "Yes." "And you're just watching." "I'm noticing," he replied. The correction mattered. Watching implied hunger. Noticing implied restraint. She leaned back on her hands, shoulders opening without planning to. Her body responded before her pride could stop it. The awareness rose slowly. Not heat, not urgency. Focus. "You're not pretending you don't want this," she said. "No." "And you're still not touching." "No." The pause between her words and his answers felt longer now. Not stretched, measured, like each second was being placed deliberately where it belonged. She shifted, extending one leg, then the other, letting movement exist without direction. The bed accepted her shape without commentary. The room stayed quiet, as if it were listening too. "This is usually where people rush," she said. "Yes." "They think if they wait too long, they'll lose the moment." "Yes." "And you don't." "No." She laughed softly, dark humor threading through the sound. "You're overdressed for patience." He smiled faintly. "You're overdressed for stillness." That landed deeper than she expected. She sat up again, swinging her legs off the bed, feet touching the cool floor. The temperature difference grounded her, sharpened her awareness. "You're making me aware of myself," she said. "Yes." "Without giving me anything to distract me." "Yes." She stood and crossed the room, stopping closer to him than before. Not close enough to touch, close enough to feel the change in the air. His presence was steady, not looming, not retreating. "You could end this," she said. "Yes, and you're choosing not to." "Yes." The choice echoed through her body, a low recognition that made her breath slow. This wasn't denial. This was direction. She circled him once, careful not to brush against him. The space felt charged where she passed, alive with unspent attention. He turned just enough to keep her in view. Movements minimal, intentional. "You're good at this," she said. "Yes. And you know exactly when to stop." "Yes." She stopped in front of him again, the distance now measured in intention rather than steps. She could feel his warmth clearly, not imagined, not remembered. Real. "You're letting me decide," she said. "Yes." "That's dangerous?" "Yes." She smiled, slow and dark. "You enjoy danger." "I enjoy consent," he replied. The words settled cleanly, heavy without being loud. It reframed the entire night without needing explanation. She stepped back first, breaking the closeness herself. The release sent a quiet ripple through her body, control returning where it had slipped earlier. She returned to the bed and sat, posture relaxed now, less defensive. The bed felt neutral beneath her, no longer a stage, just a surface. "You're changing the rules," she said. "No," he replied. "I'm revealing them." She leaned back against the headboard, breathing steady, eyes on him. The awareness between them deepened, no longer sharp, more precise. "This feels intimate," she said. "Yes." "And nothing has happened." "No." She laughed softly, the sound warmer now. "That's unsettling." "Yes." "And satisfying." "Yes." The dark humor softened into something quieter. The room felt settled, like it had accepted the new shape of the night. She crossed her legs loosely and rested her hands on her knees. No performance, no invitation, just presence. "You're not waiting for me to give in," she said. "No." "You're waiting for me to arrive." "Yes." The clarity of that answer made her chest tighten, not with urgency, but recognition. She had arrived prepared to be desired. She was being asked to choose desire instead. She stood again, slower now, and walked to the window. The city glowed back, distant and indifferent. She pressed her palm lightly to the glass, feeling the cool surface steady her. "This could stop," she said. "Yes." "And it wouldn't feel unfinished?" "No." She turned back to him and smiled, real and unguarded. "I didn't expect this," she said. "I know," he replied, "and I don't hate it." "No." The silence returned, but now it felt different. Not a pause waiting to be filled, a space being respected. She returned to the bed and sat, folding her legs beneath her, posture calm and present. The stillness no longer challenged her. It invited her. She realized the pause had done what touch usually did too quickly. It had stripped away the assumption that desire needed to rush to be real. The night leaned forward without moving, and she stayed, curious and intact, letting the power she'd arrived with finally show itself. The night didn't deepen. It narrowed. She felt it as a tightening of focus, rather than a change in light. The same low glow filled the room. The same furniture held its place. Yet everything felt closer, like the walls had leaned in to listen. The pause she had learned to sit inside now pressed back, asking something quieter and more dangerous. She remained on the bed, legs folded beneath her, posture relaxed but alert. Not posed, not offered, present. The difference mattered more than she wanted to admit. "You're different now," he said. "Yes," she replied. "Not because you're calmer." "No, because you stopped waiting," he said. The words settled slowly, rearranging something she had carried for years. Waiting had always been a strategy, a way to let others reveal themselves first, a way to feel chosen without risking choice. She smiled faintly, dark humor threading through it. I didn't plan that. I know, he said. She leaned back against the headboard and closed her eyes briefly. Without sight, the room felt more intimate. Every sound carried weight. The soft shift of fabric when he adjusted his stance, the distant hum of the city outside the window, her own breath, steady and unforced. She opened her eyes and looked at him. "This feels dangerous," she said. "Yes," he replied. "Not because of what might happen." "No, but because nothing is stopping it," she said. He nodded once. "You're aware of your power?" he said. The word power didn't feel heavy anymore. It felt accurate. She slid off the bed and stood, bare feet finding the cool floor. The change in temperature sharpened her awareness, grounding her again. She walked slowly, not toward him at first, but around the room, testing how movement lived in this new shape of the night. He turned just enough to keep her in view, movements minimal, respectful. "You're not following," she said. "No." "And you're not retreating." "No." The balance made her smile, slow and knowing. This wasn't a chase. It was a shared pause where neither of them needed to win. She stopped closer than before, the space between them now thin enough to feel intentional. The air was warmer here, real warmth, human warmth. "You're still not touching?" she said. "No." "And it's louder than before," she added. "Yes." The erotic tension lived there. Not sharp, not urgent, focused. She felt it settle low and steady, a quiet hum rather than a pull. She lifted her hands slowly, stopping it in the space between them, close enough to feel the heat without making contact. Her fingers hovered, aware of every second. He didn't move. She lowered her hand again and stepped back, breaking the moment herself. The choice sent a subtle wave through her body, grounding rather than inflaming. She returned to the bed and sat, posture easy now, eyes steady. "I thought desire needed movement," she said. "It needs permission," he replied. She laughed softly. "That's worse." "Yes." She stretched one leg out slowly, then the other, letting movement exist without intention. The bed accepted her shape without commentary. The room stayed quiet, attentive. "This is the most exposed I've felt," she said. "Yes." "And you haven't taken anything from me." "No." She nodded, absorbing the truth of it. Touch would have given her a role. This had given her responsibility. She stood again and crossed the room, stopping just outside the space where touch would be inevitable. The distance felt alive now, humming softly, held in place by mutual understanding. "You're letting me decide," she said. "Yes." "That's not how this usually goes." "No." She tilted her head slightly, studying him. The steadiness was still there, but it no longer felt like something she was pushing against. It felt shared. "You know," she said, "I expected to be wanted." "You are," he replied, "and yet I don't feel taken." "No." The distinction landed with quiet satisfaction. Wanted without being consumed, seen without being reduced. She stepped back and leaned against the wall, arms relaxed at her sides, posture open. She wasn't offering herself. She was occupying space. "You changed the rules," she said. "No," he replied. "You stopped following the wrong ones." The dark humor of it made her smile. She had dressed, arrived, prepared for a version of desire that moved quickly and left little behind. Instead, she was standing inside something slower and deeper. She pushed off the wall and returned to the bed, sitting near the center. The mattress dipped, then steadied, holding her without persuasion. I don't feel rushed anymore," she said. "Good." "I don't feel small." "Good." "I feel present." "Yes." The night continued without urgency. They spoke occasionally, not to fill space, but to place something true into it. Small admissions, preferences, boundaries named without apology. The erotic tension matured, no longer demanding resolution. It felt intentional, like a flame kept low enough to last. She realized then that this was the mirror, not him reflecting her back to herself, but the space doing it. The pause, the refusal to rush. She had expected desire. She was finding power. And for the first time, she understood that the two were not opposites. They were aligned, waiting for her to notice. The room exhaled, not because anything ended, but because nothing needed to push forward anymore. The night had found its balance, and she felt it settle into her body like a slow, confident breath. She stood near the bed, one hand resting lightly on the mattress, not for support, but acknowledgement. The surface felt firm now, honest. No longer a suggestion, just a place. "You're steady," he said. "Yes," she replied. "Not because you're holding back. No, because you're choosing," he said. The word choice no longer felt like a challenge. It felt like ownership. She moved again, not toward him, not away, but across the room, tracing a quiet line that belonged entirely to her. Each step felt deliberate, grounded. She could feel the attention follow without pursuing her. That mattered. "You're not watching me anymore," she said. "I am," he replied. "Just not to see what you'll give?" She smiled, dark humor warming the edges of it. "That's new." "Yes." She stopped near the window and looked out at the city. Lights blinked back, indifferent, unconcerned. The world had no idea what had shifted inside this room, and that felt right. This wasn't a performance. She turned back and leaned against the wall, arms relaxed at her sides, posture open without offering. "This feels like the part where I'm supposed to take control," she said. "Yes. And yet," she continued, "I don't feel like I need to." "No," he replied. "You already did." The recognition settled in slowly, deep and satisfying. Control wasn't something she had seized tonight. It was something she had stopped handing away. She crossed the room again, stopping closer than before. The distance felt thinner now, not sharp, not dangerous, responsive, like it would move if she asked it to, but wouldn't move on its own. "You're very calm about this," she said. "Yes." "You're not trying to lead." "No." "And you're not following." "No." The balance made her laugh softly. "That's unsettling." "Yes." "And it feels right." "Yes." She raised her hand again, brushing her fingers lightly along his forearm this time. The contact was brief, intentional, real. She felt the warmth there, the solidity. He didn't react beyond acknowledging the moment with his breath. She withdrew her hand and stepped back, not breaking the moment, just reshaping it. "That felt different," she said. "Yes." "Not urgent." "No." "Grounded." "Yes." The erotic tension shifted again, not sharpening, not fading. It settled into something richer, something that didn't need to prove itself. She returned to the bed and sat, legs folded beneath her, posture relaxed. The mattress accepted her weight without persuasion. The room felt complete now, like it had stopped waiting for something to happen. "You know," she said, "this is usually where I start wondering what comes next." "Yes? And tonight," she added, "I don't need to." "No." She leaned back against the headboard and closed her eyes briefly. Her breathing stayed even. The awareness in her body felt warm and contained, like a fire that didn't need more fuel. "I don't feel rushed," she said. "Good. I don't feel like I'm being measured. Good. I feel capable?" "Yes." The word landed gently, but it stayed. She opened her eyes and looked at him again. The steadiness was still there, but now it felt like something she could lean into rather than something she had to push against. "You didn't take anything from me," she said. "No." "And yet," she continued, "I feel fuller." "Yes." She smiled, real and unguarded. The dark humor softened into warmth. She shifted on the bed, stretching out briefly, then sitting up again, testing how movement felt in this new shape of the night. "It's strange," she said. "How much power I thought lived in being desired." "Yes." "And how much of it lives here?" she added, tapping lightly at her chest. "Yes." They let the silence sit again. Not heavy, not expectant. Comfortable. The kind that doesn't ask to be filled. She stood once more and walked toward him, stopping close enough that the space between them felt intentional rather than protective. She could feel his presence clearly now, steady and warm. "This is where I usually decide," she said. "Yes." "And tonight," she continued, "I already have." He smiled faintly, not triumphant, not relieved, just present. "That's the difference," he said. She nodded, understanding settling in. The night hadn't given her power. It had revealed where it had always been. She stepped back and returned to the bed, sitting calmly, fully herself. The room felt settled around her, like it had learned how to hold this version of the moment. The erotic tension remained, dark and alive, but no longer demanding. It felt shared now, intentional, something that belonged to both of them without being consumed. She had expected desire. She had found power. And now she knew exactly how to use it without losing herself. Morning arrived gently, like it understood it had not been invited to interrupt anything. Light slid across the floor in thin lines, touching the wall first, then the edge of the bed, as if testing whether it was allowed to stay. The room looked unchanged, but she knew better. Something had settled during the night, something quiet and firm, like a decision that didn't need repeating. She woke without urgency. No reaching for explanations. No need to replay moments to check where she stood. Her body felt present, rested in a way that had nothing to do with sleep alone. The power she had found the night before hadn't faded with the dark. It stayed, calm and intact. He was still there, not hovering, not watching, just present, near the window, shoulders relaxed, posture easy. The distance between them no longer felt like a line to manage. It felt like space that had already done its work. She sat up and stretched slowly, enjoying the simple awareness of movement. The bed no longer suggested anything. It supported her without expectation. "This feels different in the morning," she said. "Yes," he replied. "Not weaker?" "No." "Clearer?" "Yes." She smiled, genuine and unguarded. The dark humor that had edged the night softened into warmth. There was nothing left to prove. She stood and crossed the room barefoot, stopping close to him. This time the closeness didn't carry tension. It carried ease. She rested her hand lightly against his arm, not testing, not asking, just acknowledging what already existed. He turned slightly toward her, meeting the moment without taking it over. "That," she said quietly, "is enough." "Yes," he replied. They stayed there for a moment, letting contact exist without trying to shape it into something else. The connection felt settled, not sharp, chosen rather than charged. She stepped back first, not out of habit, but because she wanted to see how it felt. It still felt right. They moved through the morning without ceremony. Coffee brewed. The window opened wider. The city's sound drifted in, ordinary and grounding. Nothing felt fragile. Nothing needed guarding. Later, they sat together on the edge of the bed, shoulders touching lightly. The contact was easy now, not weighted with meaning, not stripped of it either. Conversation came naturally, not circling desire or power, but sharing small truths that felt safe to place between them. She noticed how relaxed she was. No performance, no waiting, no preparing for something to be taken. "I don't feel like I lost anything," she said. "No," he replied. "You kept it." The words landed softly and stayed. She leaned back onto the bed and laughed quietly, the sound free of tension. "I came here thinking I would give something." "Yes." "And I'm leaving with more." "Yes." The happiness in that realization wasn't loud. It didn't rush through her. It settled, deep and steady, like something that would last beyond this room. She lay back fully, hands resting loosely at her sides, eyes half closed. The bed felt comfortable without being persuasive. The room felt complete. He lay beside her, not crowding, not distant. Their closeness felt natural now, not symbolic. His arm rested lightly near her shoulder, not claiming, not cautious. "This feels balanced," she said. "Yes." "And safe." "Yes." She turned her head slightly, resting it against his shoulder. The contact was simple, grounded, unremarkable in the best possible way. "I expected desire," she said softly. "And you found power," he replied. She smiled. "And then I found peace." They stayed like that for a while, letting the moment exist without naming it further. There was no urgency to define what came next. The night had already done its work. When she finally stood to leave, she didn't feel the pull she had expected. No ache, no loss, just completion. At the door, she paused and looked back once. "Thank you," she said. This time the words didn't feel like surrender. "Yes," he replied. "Now they mean something." She left the room with her posture unchanged, her steps steady. The city greeted her with its usual indifference, and she welcomed it. She walked away knowing something important. She had arrived expecting to take control of the night. Instead, she had discovered that power had always been hers to keep, and that knowledge stayed with her, warm and quiet, long after the door closed behind her.